Welcome to Northwoods Pursuit, where the untamed wild meets true hunting passion. The wild boar population in the United States has reached alarming levels, with Texas alone reporting nearly 3 million of these beasts, a staggering number. With such a horde roaming the countryside, they've ravaged everything from crops and farmland to barns once thought to be impenetrable. Traps have been set far and wide, yet these cunning creatures slip away with ease. If you love thrilling hunting stories and want to see more action from the wild, hit that subscribe button and join the Northwoods Pursuit community today. That's why today, Nick and his hunting crew are taking the fight straight to the wild boar's stronghold, tracking them back to the very heart of their territory to defend our land. The stakes couldn't be higher. Can this mission put an end to the havoc these marauding beasts have unleashed? Stick with us as we dive into the adrenaline-charged action ahead. That's why today, Nick and his hunting crew are taking the fight straight to the wild boar's stronghold, tracking them back to the very heart of their territory to defend our land. The stakes couldn't be higher. Can this mission put an end to the havoc these marauding beasts have unleashed? Stick with us as we dive into the adrenaline-charged action ahead. Within minutes, Nick locks eyes on the target. The crew tightens formation, rifles steady and fingers poised. As the wild boars break through the brush, the crack of gunfire shatters the still air. Each shot lands with deadly accuracy. The herd never even has a chance to bolt before several drop where they stand, sinking into the swamp's murky waters. At the helm, Jay steers with practiced skill, running the boat through walls of towering grass while staying locked on the chase. The engine's roar jolts the remaining boars into chaos, sending them crashing through reeds in a last-ditch attempt to escape. Jay angles the boat hard, cutting off one's path and locking it in place. That's all the opening Nick's crew needs. In seconds, a hail of bullets tears through the air, dropping one massive beast after another. By the time the boat pushes forward, the swamp bears the grim mark of a hunt, a trail of motionless giants left in their wake. Along a quiet stretch of river, where wild boars often sprawl in the sun and nose through the mud for food, Leon and his team move into position at a prime hunting spot. Every step is deliberate, every sound muffled to avoid tipping off their quarry. 15 tense minutes pass before a flash of movement breaks the stillness. A boar explodes from the riverbank. Leon reacts instantly, raising his rifle and squeezing off a single razor-accurate shot. The animal drops on the spot, never having a chance to escape his pinpoint aim. After a stellar morning harvest, the crew pauses just long enough to reload and regroup for the afternoon push. By 3 o'clock, Nick's team is back in action, posted on high ground tangled with thick brush. Eyes scan the landscape for the slightest sign of movement. The truck growls to life, powering through the dense undergrowth. Then, there it is. Boar steps into view. Nick wastes no time, closing the distance with practiced ease and bringing it down with a shot as clean as it is decisive. Before Nick can even inspect his last kill, the sharp chorus of hounds erupts in the distance. Without a second thought, he sprints toward the commotion. There a wild boar, backed into a corner by the relentless dogs, eyes wild with desperation. Moving in like a shadow, Nick takes his position. One perfectly timed shot rings out, and the beast drops instantly, stripped of any chance to fight back. Not far away, beneath a dense snarl of brush, Jay catches sight of another boar crashing through the undergrowth in search of cover. This is the moment he's been waiting for. He steadies his aim and pulls the trigger, each round cutting the animal's frantic dash short. With a final stumble, the boar collapses. Jay lets out a slow breath, knowing his shot just bought the land one more day of peace. Wild boars aren't just crop-wrecking machines. They're masters of disappearing into the most unforgiving terrain, testing even the most experienced hunters. Taking them down demands precision, patience, and a fight that doesn't let up until the threat is stopped cold. Pushing deeper into the wilderness, he catches the outline of a frantic boar breaking through the shadows. He steadies his rifle, takes the shot, and it lands perfectly, dropping the animal in its tracks.
I've hunted
Not far
in
away,
many places
another
from
marksman
Misty Forest.
spots 2 boars barreling straight toward him. With a swift, precise pull of trigger, he drops the first, then signals his team to cut off the second escape. Moments later, a sharp crack rings through the forest, and the last target is down. For now, the destruction these ruthless beasts bring has been pushed back, but the fight to protect America's heartland is far from finished. Hunting isn't just about the thrill of the chase, it's about protecting our land, our crops, and the wildlife that truly belongs here. Every hog taken today means fewer fields torn apart tomorrow, and one step closer to restoring balance to our wilderness. But the battle doesn't end with a single hunt. These invasive giants breed fast, spread wide, and challenge hunters year-round. That's why we keep pushing forward, one shot, one mission at a time. If you believe in responsible hunting, preserving our heritage, and defending the great outdoors, stick with us. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and join Northwoods' pursuit for the next adrenaline-charged chapter in this ongoing fight. The wild is calling, and we're answering. As a professional hunter, I've chased wild boars across the globe, but nothing compares to autumn in Europe. Beneath golden forest canopies, massive boars roam, destroying farmlands and pushing farmers to the edge. Today, my team and I are back in action, working to control this growing threat. Wild boars aren't just a nuisance, they're wrecking entire harvests and livelihoods. That's why more regions now rely on strategic hunts to protect food supplies and rural life. Love real-world hunting and conservation stories? Hit that subscribe button and join us here at Northwoods Pursuit. We hit the forest at dawn, fully loaded with gear and ready for action. For this hunt, I went with my Merkel RX Relic, paired with cutting-edge ET3 Tactical RDN3X scope. Less than an hour after setting up, I spotted movement. A group of wild boars burst from the underbrush, startled and fast. These weren't your average pigs. They were massive, winter-hardened beasts with shaggy coats and thick tusks that looked like something out of a nightmare. Thanks to the scope, I had solid control at both mid and long range. One by one, I squeezed the trigger. My shots echoed through the forest as the boars crashed down the slopes, sending golden leaves flying with them. But this isn't easy work. Not every shot lands clean. These animals are tough, lightning fast, and use the terrain to their advantage. Every second demands razor-sharp focus. We stayed sharp, scanning the brush for movement. In the distance, one boar was already on the run, hounded by our tracking dogs. It darted through the trees, desperate to escape, but one clean shot from my rifle dropped it fast. More followed. It became clear that this forest was overrun with boars. With such numbers, it's no surprise they raid nearby farms when food runs low. The damage they cause isn't minor, it's devastating for the people trying to make a living off the land. As we pushed deeper into the woods, I caught sight of another boar weaving through the undergrowth. It didn't offer a clean shot right away, but I waited, tracked its pace, and finally took it down. Gunshots echoed around us. Other hunters were locking in too. These animals weren't hiding. Every few steps, a new silhouette emerged from shadows. In this kind of hunt, reaction time and pinpoint accuracy weren't just helpful, they were critical. We were riding high on the momentum of our success. The boars we brought down were nothing short of beasts, huge frames, thick hides, menacing tusks. Still, I kept my focus steady. This wasn't just about the thrill of the hunt, it was about doing our part to protect local farms from destruction. Boars may be fast and unpredictable, but our marksmanship kept them in check. Each echoing shot was proof that we were making progress. By this point, I had already dropped several targets. The crack of gunfire echoed through the forest, spooking the rest and sending them into a frenzy, only pushing our adrenaline higher. I reloaded quickly, ready for whatever came next. Surrounded by barking hounds and the sound of leaves crunching under hooves, we watched as more boars surged through the trees. The action was non-stop, and this hunt was shaping up to be one we'd never forget. Hunting isn't just about the excitement, it's about responsibility. Each shot we take helps restore balance between man and nature, protecting crops, communities, and ecosystems. But this job requires respect, discipline, and a deep understanding of the animals we track. At Northwoods Pursuit, we believe in ethical hunting and real-world conservation. If you're passionate about wildlife management and want a front-row seat to the action, don't miss our upcoming adventures. Subscribe now and join us on the next hunt. This video is for educational and awareness purposes. All scenes follow local laws and ethical hunting guidelines. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we're diving into a wild and gritty showdown, humans versus one of the most destructive invasive species on the planet. These animals aren't just a nuisance. They wreak havoc on entire ecosystems and devastate agricultural lands. This is the gripping story of a farmer's uphill battle to protect his livelihood from an unlikely enemy, the wild boar. It might look harmless at first glance, but don't be fooled, this creature is a walking wrecking ball. Just this past fall, deep in rural Texas, cornfield became ground zero for an all-out invasion. Dozens of feral hogs stormed the land, and what they left behind wasn't just damage, it was devastation. These beasts don't graze, they plunder. With noses that can sniff out food from miles away, they moved in with their young, tearing through crops meant for harvest, and leaving the soil looking like it had been through a war zone. In this story, we'll uncover how one simple misstep during planting season can open the door to disaster. When farmers don't take precautions, they risk losing everything before a single sprout breaks the soil. Wild boars are quick to seize the opportunity. They'll root up freshly planted seeds before they even have a chance to grow. Their heavy tracks are often the first sign of trouble, stamped clearly across the soft earth. And when they hit a cornfield, they don't nibble around the edges. They charge straight to the heart of it, tearing through rows like a wrecking crew. Corn isn't just food for wild boars. It's a full-course buffet packed with energy and nutrients. That's why they're drawn to it like magnets. These fields become their perfect hideout and feeding ground, offering both cover and calories. But what starts as a feast for the hogs quickly turns into a nightmare for farmers, as entire acres are leveled in a matter of hours. Across the U.S., wild boars are more than just a rural nuisance. They're a full-blown crisis, racking up an estimated $2.5 billion in damage every year. In Texas alone, during the peak of corn harvest season, the problem gets so out of hand that state agencies are forced to ramp up control efforts. But despite traps, fences, and coordinated hunts, the boar population keeps growing, and so does the destruction. For countless farmers, it's like fighting a losing battle, one field at a time. Sure, hunting wild hogs has become a favorite pastime for many sport shooters, but there's more to it than pulling a trigger. Legal restrictions and safety rules are critical, especially when hunting on private land or near crops. Hunters often lie in wait, moving quietly and taking careful aim when the animals let their guard down. Still, as thrilling as the hunt may be, it's only a temporary fix for a long-term problem. When wild boars tear through cornfields, they don't stop at the farm's edge. They often push into nearby neighborhoods, bringing chaos with them. Picture this, you're out for a casual bike ride past a quiet field, and out of nowhere, a wild hog bolts across your path, tearing through fences, brush, and anything in its way. These animals aren't just a threat to crops, they're a danger to people, pets, and property. While farmers have tried to hold the line with fences, traps, and deterrents, the results are hit or miss. Boars are smart, strong, and relentless, especially during harvest season. In some of the worst cases, entire teams of hogs have been known to decimate up to 50 acres of corn in a single night. That's not just frustrating, it's financially devastating. In a desperate effort to take back their land, some farmers have turned to night hunts right on their own property. But this isn't a job for amateurs. Tracking wild boars in the dark takes years of experience, a steady hand, and razor-sharp instincts. These animals move fast, travel in aggressive packs of 10 to 20, and don't give second chances. One misstep and they're gone. But the damage goes far beyond the fields. Wild boars aren't just crop killers, they're a full-blown ecological threat. They pollute water sources, endanger livestock, disrupt native wildlife, and even put people at risk. These invasive beasts will eat just about anything, from plants to small animals, even the remains of the dead. They're not just pests, they're a growing danger that's forcing rural communities to stay constantly on guard. Wild boars aren't just a rural problem anymore. They've been spotted digging through city dumpsters, spreading disease, and even bringing traffic to a halt as they charge through urban streets. This isn't just a nuisance, it's a growing crisis. The fight to protect our farmland, wildlife, and communities is intensifying, and the need for real, lasting solutions has never been more critical. But this battle goes far beyond cornfields. It's about safeguarding our environment, securing our food supply, and defending a way of life that's been built on the land for generations. So let's stand behind the farmers and ranchers on the front lines, because what they're fighting for affects us all. But wild boars are just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. Invasive species are wreaking havoc across the globe. Take Australia, for example, where an estimated 287 million feral rabbits have drastically transformed both the natural environment and farming landscapes. What started as a small population quickly spiraled into an ecological nightmare. And rabbits aren't the only issue. Australia has also been locked in a long-term struggle with other invasive animals like wild goats, feral camels, and the European red fox. Many of these species were brought over by European settlers centuries ago, intended for food, milk, or sport hunting. But once they escaped into the wild, they multiplied rapidly, outpacing native species and upsetting fragile ecosystems. To keep these invasive species in check, the Australian government has approved large-scale hunting of certain animals. In fact, some farmers have found a way to turn the problem into profit, capturing and selling invasive species to help offset the financial damage they've caused. So while the thrill of the hunt might draw headlines, the real takeaway here is this. Managing invasive species like wild boars and feral goats isn't just about pulling the trigger. It's about protecting ecosystems, supporting farmers, and preserving a way of life that's under siege. Responsible hunting, guided by science and regulation, can play a role, but it's only one piece of the puzzle. As our natural world faces mounting pressure, awareness and action matter more than ever. Thanks for tuning in. And if you care about wildlife, agriculture, and the future of our environment, don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out our next video. The fight is far from over. This video is for educational and awareness purposes. All scenes follow local laws and ethical hunting guidelines.